Oh gosh, well it is Spiderman, so I'm gonna have to rate it a 9.
A 7, yeah.
Okay.
It was good for a Marvel movie, is what I'll say.
I liked it. I mean, it was action packed and good story.
What's up, y'all? This is Elijah with the Veggie Outers. For those of y'all that don't know, the Veggie Outers is a brand that supports people eating more plant-based foods or going completely plant-based if they want to. We go to restaurants with vegan options and review them on a scale of 1 to 10. We also go to various activities together, such as seeing a movie, bowling, hiking, and other different types of activities. Yesterday, we went to go see the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and we went at an Alamo Drafthouse that had vegan options. In this video, you're going to hear what we thought about the food at Alamo Drafthouse and what we thought about the new Spider-Man movie. And stick around to the end because at the end of the video, I'm going to actually be giving my extended review of the movie, and I'm going to share something I haven't seen any other reviewers talking about, which is this movie has a deep social commentary on men and what a lot of men are actually going through if you look deep enough. I'm going to share that towards the end of the video. If you like this video at any point, feel free to give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, greatly helps. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Now, let's see what we thought of the Alamo Drafthouse and Spider-Man Brand New Day. What do you like most about the Veggie Outers?
I think you all are very consistent.
And we get a chance to visit new restaurants around Dallas.
I like that it's a place you can go for good food and company.
I was shocked at not being judged for not being vegan. Like, if you come and you don't eat vegan food and you just want to try a little bit, you're welcome.
There's always something kind of to look forward to.
So we're at the Alamo Drafthouse and we just got done watching, I'm just gonna borrow this, you don't mind that, do you? Okay. Spider-Man Brand New Day. In fact, I got a t-shirt, but it's in my backpack, but yeah, we just saw it and we're gonna be sharing our thoughts, and also we'll share our thoughts on the vegan menu. They had a lot of things to pick from, vegan pizza, vegan burgers, vegan cauliflower wings, and also some vegan chocolate chip cookies. Now let's get into the movie. So, what was, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this movie?
Oh gosh, well it is Spiderman, so I'm gonna have to rate it a 9. It's Spiderman.
It gets a 9 by default.
By default, yeah.
Okay.
By default. It was pretty good. I really liked it. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. It had action, it had a little bit of drama, it had, a little bit of love story. It had everything. So it was, to me, it was perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into spoiler territory. What was your favorite part of the movie? Feel free to spoil it, because they've been warned. So click off the video if you don't want to hear.
Oh gosh, my favorite part.
Yeah.
I have to go with the love story, when he was thinking about Mary Jane when they were talking, when he thought that she remembered him. That was my favorite part. I mean, I tend to cry with movies, so I was pretty close. It was pretty good.
It almost got brought you to tears?
It almost, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you give that on a scale of 1 to 10? Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Ooh, I'd give it a 7. A 7, yeah.
Okay.
It was good for a Marvel movie, is what I'll say. To show my bias, I'm into more of the.
You mentioned you were a DC fanboy.
I was a DC fanboy, yeah. So you can't tell because I'm wearing the shirt, but I would say it was a good movie. It was a little bit kind of it was a fun movie. Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Favorite part, I would say maybe towards the end when he started getting in tune with the spider senses, and
so
then
when he just what?
Just flying around and just.
I'm tired of having to decide between being Spider-Man or Peter.
Yeah.
I'm both.
Yeah.
That's when, yeah.
He just went all in. He was just flying at that point,
And
so.
kicked Ian's ass, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So.
Well, I don't really watch a whole lot of superhero, and I've only seen a couple of the Spider-Mans, and not the most recent one that was like a prequel to this one or whatever. So I didn't get any of the references or any of the backstory. There was a lot of stuff there that seemed like it would have helped if I'd actually seen the other movie. But I liked it. I mean, it was action packed and good story. So I think I'd give it 8.
Okay. And what's your favorite part of the movie? Feel free to dive into any spoilers.
I think at the part where she's got the what's his name with the glass in front of his face, and Spiderman comes in, and they have the little moment where she gets into his head and gets to talk with his aunt, and sort of connect. They made that connection, which sort of saved them both, really. So I thought that was a nice
You like
part.
that he kind of talked her down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. I like that connection that they made. One thing I like about it is it's not like black and white villains and heroes. There's a lot of overlap in these stories.
So it's more nuanced. Not like just a mustache twirling villain. I'm gonna be wild.
Yeah, and that's all. Yeah, that's all they are. There's a lot of overlap. The good guys have their dark sides, and the bad guys are redeemable. So yeah, it's good.
Okay. So, Nancy, what did you think? What did you order on the menu? Food.
So I just had popcorn and a Coke. That was it.
So was the popcorn good?
It was really good, actually. I thought it was delicious.
I think I glanced over there and it was a pretty big bowl, right?
Yep, and it was bottomless, but I mean, I just had like one serving. That's it. But I guess I could have gotten a refill or.
Okay. Cool. Okay, Sonny.
Yep.
So what did you get to eat on the menu?
Yeah, I ordered quite a bit. So I got a vegan cheese pizza, and I got a vegan chocolate chip cookie as well. So yeah, it was great. Yeah, food was
Which
good.
one's better, the cookies or the food?
I think the food was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
And cookie wasn't bad either. So
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate that food?
man, I'd give it a good 8.
8?
Yeah, they actually made it pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gil, what did you go? Did you go with your favorite, which is the cauliflower wings, as far as food?
Yeah, I got the cauliflower wings plate, which has the wings, celery and carrots and fries with the vegan ranch, and I got the cookie, the vegan chocolate chip cookie, and a soda and a Coke.
Half of everyone got the cookie. That's interesting.
Yeah, that cookie is so good.
So what would you rate that food on a scale of 1 to 10?
So if y'all are free, they're meeting at
I think it's a 9.
9?
I really don't have any complaints.
It's at 11 tomorrow.
I mean the cookie's the best part, but yeah, the wings are well, I guess cauliflower. It's pretty good. It's a little heavy breaded, but you know I don't eat breaded fried food much, but once in a while it's good. But I liked it. Yeah.
You totally should.
So 9.
And do you have any critiques of it? Like, I thought this could have been like a little better.
Gosh, I couldn't. While I was watching it, I mean, I couldn't think of anything that I would have changed or thought that would have been better. I can't think of anything I would have changed.
Okay.
Maybe something will come to mind later, but no, I can't think of anything right now.
I think my biggest gripe was the way they portrayed the Punisher, which they showed him as a funny guy, which I think was an interesting side, the twist of it. But I like Punisher for being a little bit more serious, and I don't think they did him justice. But outside of that, I thought it was good. Yeah.
And you mentioned this already, but feel free to elaborate. What's your critique of the movie? You mentioned you feel like the Punisher was turned PG-13 maybe.
Yeah, I'd say that. It was. I mean, it is a Spider-Man movie, so I'm not expecting anything too crazy. But yeah, no, I think it was good. That was probably my biggest critique. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it wasn't the end of the world scenario that a lot of the movies come out with. So
It's hard for me to say since I don't do much of the superhero movies.
Okay.
I think someone who's a big Marvel fan would probably have some criticism, some ideas. I just kind of watched it as is and just kind of, like I said, it would probably be made sense for me more if I'd seen at least the one previous to this. Because I had to kind of figure things out as I went along. It's like, oh, okay, so they did have a relationship, and he, But there was enough clues. I mean, they did a good job of writing it so that if that was the only movie you saw, you could at least catch the backstory through context. So that was pretty good. But I don't really have any criticism of it. Nothing I could think of to make it better or whatever.
Sweet.
Good special effects.
Yeah, I think the CGI in this movie is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I give the food a 9. I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. The only thing is, I felt like maybe I could have got more cauliflower wings. But aside from that, it was pretty solid. As far as the movie itself, so I've seen all the Spider-Man movies except for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And where does this rank in there? It's in the top half. I do think Spider-Man No Way Home is better. And Spider-Man 2 out of the Raimi trilogy is like my favorite, so this will probably be ranked number 3. But those two are pretty hard to top. This is a pretty good movie. Had a lot of action. The CGI was pretty good, which that's been a big problem with a lot of Marvel movies lately. So the fact they've kind of tuned that up, I greatly appreciate that. What would I rate it? Everyone keeps rating it a 9. I'm gonna break the trend. 8.5, because I do have some criticisms I'll get into in the spoiler. First, my favorite part, when they got rid of that Professor Hulk, it seems like they found a way to retcon him out and bring back the OG Hulk, because that's what made Hulk interesting. You have this really smart guy that loses control, and then he turns to the big green monster. They kind of brought that back, and when him and Spider-Man had that fight, that's probably my favorite part. The part I'm going to be critical of, I'm kind of similar to Sonny in terms of how they kind of treated, how they portrayed the Punisher. This is a brutal, like, rated R character, and he's kind of in the kids movie sort of, so he was kind of nerfed. Like, he didn't do any hand-to-hand combat. It was mainly the shooting. I love Spider-Man and Frank's dynamic, though, but I feel like they did kind of nerf the Punisher. And another critique, I know Zendaya and Tom Holland are hooking up outside of the movie, so for brand reasons, that's why they're always together in these movies. But I'm tired of MJ as a love interest. Can we bring Black Cat in? You know, the one that's a superhero too? I just want to see him have another love interest that's out there fighting crime with them. And we haven't seen that in live action before, so can we move towards that story? Him and Zendaya didn't get back together at the end of this. I'm glad. Spider-Man has several love interests. Let's, just kind of trade them out. Do something we haven't done yet. But I see y'all laughing. Y'all probably had those thoughts, but just didn't say it. So don't be looking at me sideways. In fact, turn the camera around and look at their faces. They'll be laughing at me. Yeah? No, full sweep. They're laughing, but they probably have the same thoughts. I'm just the one that's saying it. But that's our review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you want more reviews from the Veggie Outers, go to www.theveggieouters.com, and we'll see you in our next review, whether it be restaurant or movie review. We'll catch you later. And just real quick, thanks to the behind the scenes. You want to say hi? Yeah, she's been recording for us. She acting all shy. All right. Hopefully you're enjoying the review that you're hearing right now. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you're looking to change your habits health-wise for the better, I recommend you join the Veggie Outers. We go to restaurants and vegan options and review them, and we do various things together such as bowling, hiking, going to the arcade together, as well as seeing movies. And you don't have to be fully plant-based to join the group. It's all about helping people eat more fruits and vegetables and plants to better their health. Of course, if you do want to go fully plant-based, we're fully here to support you doing that as well. Just click the link in the description or in the pinned comment to get started. Oftentimes when we want to do something better for our health, we find it hard to hang out with our old friends because of bad habits, so we become kind of lonely. Well, that's not necessary. You just have to get around more people to have the better habits that you want to see in yourself, and we can be a great conduit for that. After clicking the link in the description, you'll have the option to join our newsletter, join our Facebook group, or join us on the Meetup app. Dealer's choice, completely up to you, or all the above. So if that interests you, click the link in the description to get started. Now let's get back to the review. Sup everyone, Elijah here, and we're going to be doing a review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now this is something new, and if y'all really respond positively to it, I definitely wouldn't mind turning this into a regular thing. Y'all heard my thoughts with the Veggie Outers, and that's a good kind of summary review, but I do have more things to say, so think of this as more of a extended review. So I'll be saying my pros, my cons. Then I'm going to have a section, I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it's essentially where you need to get your scuba gear because we're gonna be going deep into like what I saw in the film that maybe other people didn't see. Because I think there's some serious social commentary revolving around men that people are kind of missing. I've watched other critic reviews after I watched the movie, and no one's really talking about this. So I think I'm gonna be the one to go ahead and tackle it. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Geekdom 101. He kind of inspired me to do this section because I wouldn't mind doing this for every single review we do, but I get in my head about I'm gonna have to do the editing and stuff like that. But his reviews literally just have one picture and him talking, so we're gonna start here. And if this starts to become popular, maybe I'll start editing this like my normal videos on the Side Hustle Society and Financial Anatomy. But enough about that. So here are my general thoughts about the movie, just right off the bat. When I was about 3/4 of the way watching the movie, I kind of figured that this was probably going to be my third favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. I don't think it's better than No Way Home or Spider-Man 2. I think those have more overall, how can I put this? It satisfies everything I want in a Spider-Man movie more overall, versus I think this is probably one of the most emotional Spider-Man movies. And that's a good thing. But I don't think it tops those two. So I think it's number 3. And by the time the movie ended, it kind of cemented its place in number 3. But that is not like a disrespectful comment. Those two movies, the fact that I have those two movies in the same conversation as it already says a lot. In fact, this movie had a lot to kind of prove because this is the first real Spider-Man movie in the MCU, if you ask me, because the previous movies, like, they going with this whole boy turns to man kind of thing. So Homecoming he is like more so Spider-Boy under Tony Stark. Far From Home, he's kind of growing up a little because he lost Tony. No Way Home is the story of him becoming a man and realizing that he has responsibilities. That movie actually got pretty heavy. And this is a movie where it actually felt like a real Spider-Man movie. The movie where like Spider-Man is taking the reins. He's not around, putting other heroes on a pedestal. He sees himself as equal to other heroes. And he does things his way. And that's so refreshing to see. But this been an MCU movie, and the MCU is not in the best place right now because they really botched phases 4 and 5. But they had a lot to kind of prove here. Even though Spider-Man movies always tend to be good, I think a lot of that has to do with Sony's influence. People keep forgetting that Sony and Marvel were partnered on Spider-Man movies. I think that's part of the reason that the movies are good. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Sony right now, given what they're doing with the PS5 and physical disc, but we're not going to get into that. I think they decided to use this movie as a launching pad to really introduce a lot of elements that'll be in the MCU going forward, because they know Spider-Man, everyone's going to see this, versus some of the other movies. They haven't really been doing well commercially because people have lost faith in the brand, but they know that they're going to come see Spider-Man. So let's put it in here and use this kind of as a launching pad, which is smart business-wise. But the movie does suffer a little because of that. So let's get into the pros. I think this has one of the best musical scores among a Spider-Man movie in general. I mean, it's there's this one track, and I have it on the screen right now, by Michael Giacchio. I'm sorry, I don't like butchering names, but you can see on the screen, it has this isolation, lonely feel mingled with purpose and responsibility. And the closer you get towards the end, the more the purpose and responsibility starts to take over, and it's real inspiring. Also, like the core themes of like isolation and loneliness and how Peter is dealing with that. And I love the fact that OG Hulk is back too. I was never a fan of Professor Hulk. I thought that stuff was lame. It took what made the character unique and interesting by blending them together. And now Hulk is actually back. The original Hulk is back. Next pro is, I already said this is the first real Spider-Man movie among Tom Holland's movies, in my opinion. You can argue for No Way Home was, but that's him becoming into the real Spider-Man. That's why Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had to come in and school this like little Spider-Boy on some real stuff to turn him into Spider-Man. So I don't really count that, since that's a transition movie. This was a real Spider-Man movie, like the Spider-Man. He's dealing with stuff, from the comics. And going back to the core themes of isolation, let me just expand on that real quick. There's a real focus on purpose and responsibility versus having a life. And Peter is choosing I'm going to actually say responsibility, because I see responsibility as the next step above purpose. So a man has purpose, right? And that's cool. But if he's good at what he does and he's serving the society, it will eventually transition into responsibility. And Spider-Man is at that tier of responsibility. So I'm just going to refer to it as responsibility. But that kind of comes at the cost of him having a life, having friends, having a girlfriend, etc. But the thing with that is, it's actually voluntary. He's actually choosing this. And we're going to get into that when we get into the deep section I mentioned before. But let's go ahead and go into like the cons. So I already talked about how they nerfed my boy Punisher. And I don't like the fact that they never dropped the name Punisher. No one ever calls him the Punisher, and they probably didn't, because he's not the Punisher like from the Netflix shows in terms of him just ripping people's throats out and stuff. They really didn't call him Punisher. It's fine for Spider-Man and Frank like Spider-Man calls him Frank. That's fine, but couldn't the news outlet just drop it like, the Punisher has been seen in the vicinity or something? I needed that as a fan, and I didn't get it, so that was kind of a bummer. And another con is a lot of people saying that they respect the fact that they didn't instantly undo the damage and consequences from No Way Home. I actually disagree. They left the door open for MJ and Peter to get together, and I don't like that. I really want that to have a conclusive end where they don't get back together. Maybe they can be friends or have a respect for each other, but that ship is sailed. Get Spider-Man some other love interests. I said that, with the Veggie Outers. And at the end, it looks like him and Ned are going to be friends too. Like, look, can we just move on from these characters? Because Spider-Man has a whole, there's so many characters in the Spider universe. It's time to bring in some new characters. So those are my biggest cons. I think anything outside of that is just more of a nitpick. Some people have a problem with Jean Grey being a villain and doing villainous things. We don't know what's going to happen in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and if the slate is going to be wiped clean or anything like that. So I'm not going to judge that until that stuff comes out. That's why I didn't really write this down as a con. You could argue, yeah, that's out of character, but her character hasn't been established, and neither have the X-Men in this universe. So this can be a prequel version of her where she learns, oh my gosh, I need to get a lid on this because people can die if I'm not responsible. And in that way, that kind of makes a good forward of the Peter story. So let's get into the deep, put your scuba gear on. Let's go ahead and get deep, because I'm going to share the message that this movie is saying that I think a lot of people are just kind of overlooking or just not seeing. But there's some serious social commentary when it comes to men, purpose, and loneliness and isolation. And it's extremely relevant now, because you can ask ChatGPT to bring up the stats, but society in general is more lonely than it ever has been. And the way Spider-Man and Peter is dealing with this, it's really relevant, because there are a lot of men like this that are going through this. Some people probably thinking so you're saying no friends, no contact with women. It wasn't just that he didn't want to get back with MJ. He just didn't want to get with any woman in general. There's this scene in the elevator where this woman is in the elevator. Oh, we stay on the same floor. Clearly she's throwing him a choosing signal. She's interested. He's just no, get it. That he actually moved in the basement of the building or whatever, just so no one can actually find out anything about him. So that's him just kind of rejecting human interaction in general, and he's doing it for a quote unquote honorable cause. I don't want to say this is an allegory for incels, because it's a little deeper than that. They're most incels, they will want to have this stuff, but they don't have the skills to actually get it. And I'm not saying Peter Parker's the most charismatic dude. No, he's a normal dude, but normal dudes can, get this stuff. They might not be able to get it in the numbers that they want, but they can get the normal average level of it. And the reason I'm commenting on this is because I see a lot of people, especially I talk about this on my Social Dynamics channel, but I see a lot of this going on in the real world, where men have purposely isolated themselves, and they don't really realize that has a serious consequence, not for them, but for society. Like when the spider portion of Spider-Man is overtaking the man portion because he's not allowing himself to express himself, by having friends in the life and stuff like that. That's an allegory for like when men are too developed into their purpose, or if it's evolved into responsibility, but they purposely shut out the social aspects of, female companionship and also just having, friends going to the bar, having a beer with a few buddies and just, talking about your day and having fun. They just kind of push that element off, and maybe it's for a few years, maybe it's meant to be temporary, but it goes on too long. And like you just have sometimes these people can just kind of snap, or they just become a different person gradually over time because they're not allowing that other side of them expression. And that's dangerous because men who don't have friends or female companionship historically are dangerous. Even if it's for an honorable cause, you might be really focused on school, for instance, and you're working 2 jobs to pay for that school. And you'll say, yo, I don't have time for girls. I don't have time for friends and all that stuff. And it's one thing if that goes on for maybe 2 or 3 years, but it drags on to like 7 or 8 years, or really just anything past 2 years, to be honest. It's one thing to do that temporarily, but when it goes past 2 years, obviously you're not going to turn into a man spider. That's kind of, I'm glad they didn't do the man spider thing in the movie, but maybe that's their take on man spider. But Peter just kind of snapping in these moments where he just loses control. That's an allegory for, men who shut this aspect of themselves out, but they don't realize that as a consequence for them and the people that may be close to them, and sometimes for society if they just start, snapping. So I really like how they dealt with that in the film, where Peter actually just realized that he can't do this alone and starts integrating people back into his life. And I prefer they were different people, like I said. I think MJ and Ned, they served their purpose as bringing in some new characters, but that's the direction they went. But the point is, he started integrating people back into his life. And I think that's something that we really need to take note of as men, because if we don't, there's consequences not just for us, but for the people around us and sometimes for society. And they wonder why people just kind of like black out sometimes and do something crazy, according to what they say. And there might be some truth to that. They're just not expressing enough things and it's just all bottled inside. But that's my scuba gear section. Maybe that's what I'll call this. And that's my, I guess, extended spoiler review, if you will. But let me know y'all's thoughts in the comment section. I thought it was a great movie. Like I said, it's number 3 for me. I'm probably going to go see it again. It doesn't top Spider-Man 2 or No Way Home, but that's an extremely high bar to, top. But it is better than all the other Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. I think it's better than Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 1, Far From Home. Well, all the other movies in the MCU, Spider-Man, and both of the Amazing Spider-Mans. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. Give this video a thumbs up if you found value in it. And if you're interested in joining the Veggie Outers and accompany us in our next movie review or restaurant review, click the link in the description or the pinned comment. I will catch y'all later. Peace out.